Hey guys, we have this equation here. We want to know what x equals, right? There's a few different ways we could do it with factoring or different things. For this example, we are going to use completing the square, okay? So when I complete the square, my first step is I want my variables alone, which basically just means I don't want this -3 over here. So to get rid of it, I'm going to add 3 to this side, right? Because then it goes away. But if I add it to that side of the equation, I got to add it to this side, right? To keep my equation balanced. You've probably done this about 1,000,000 times so far in math, right? All right, so we've got x squared plus 10x equals 93 plus 3 gives me 96. Okay. All right, when we are completing the square, what we want is on this side of the equation, we want a parenthesis that is being squared. Okay, if you're like, you've lost me, hold on, I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, to do this, what I do is I am going to take b divided by 2 and square it. Okay, if you're like, where did she get b from? Let me show you a little something. Here is what our quadratic formula equations look like in standard form, right? So look at the beginning. If I had subtracted 93 from both sides, it would look just like this, right? Now, the b is the number in front of my x, okay? So whatever number is in front of your x, that is our b. So watch what happens when I take 10, divide it by 2, and square it, okay? 10 divided by 2 gives me 5, and then we square that and get 25, okay? Now, what am I going to do with that 25? I am going to add it to both sides of this equation, again, to keep my equation balanced, right? And let me show you why we picked to add 25. We can add or subtract whatever we want as long as we do it from both sides, right? To both sides. So why did I pick 25? Let me show you, okay? When I add 25 to both sides, I get x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 96 plus 25 gives me 121. Okay. Now what I want to do is factor this side. Okay. Just like you've probably been doing. If you need some reviews on it, I will link one in the corner. Now, because we are completing the square, I know that when I factor this, I'm going to get x plus 5 times x plus 5. Okay, and that equals 121. How did I know that? Well, I knew that because I did this b divided by 2 and squared it and added that to both sides. That made it so when I factor this, this is my number being added to the x, and then they are being multiplied by each other. Okay, if you didn't know that, you could have factored just like normal, taken the 25 and said, what multiplies to 25 and adds to 10? Oh, it's 5 and 5, right? And done it just like that, okay? So now I have x plus 5 times x plus 5, which I can rewrite as x plus 5 squared, right? And that still equals 121, okay? All right, now I can solve for x, right? So how do I get rid of that squared? Well, I take the square root, right, of both sides, okay? The squared and the square root cancel. So on this side, I'm left with x plus 5 equals, whenever we introduce a square root, we need to remember our plus or minus, okay? Because the square root of 121 is asking what number multiplied by itself gives me 121. Well, 11 times 11 is 121, right? But also, -11 times -11 also gives me 121, right? So there could be two possible answers. So when I write the answer of the square root of 121, I write it as plus or minus 11. Okay. Now I could have two potential answers. So this is when I like to break it up with arrows. Okay. So on this side, I'm going to do the plus 11. So I'll have x plus 5 equals 11. Okay. And on this side, I'll do the negative 11. X plus 5 equals negative 11. Okay, feeling pretty good? Then we're just solving for x. So on this one, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So I get x equals 6. And on this one, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides and get x equals negative 16. And look at that, guys. Those are my x's. Both of those, if I plug them in, will work for this equation. This also means that if I were to factor this equation, I would get x minus 6 times x plus 16. Okay? So if you're looking at this and you're like, hold on, internet math tutor lady. If from the beginning I had subtracted the 93 from both sides, I could have factored it like that. Okay, yes, you could have, and you probably would have done a good job. But I wanted to show you completing the square when we had nice, pretty numbers, okay? A lot of times when you complete the square, it's when your quadratic equation can't factor in a pretty way, okay? And so a lot of times you're going to get weird answers with plus or minus square roots. I will link an example in the corner for you, but I did want to show an example where we get nice, pretty numbers, okay? So hopefully this made sense, and if it did, if you could hit like button, that'd be awesome. Thanks, bye!